Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today I have decided to make a video that is kind of a second part of a video that I've already made, which was the one about Italians and Italian traditions and weird Italian things. I'll probably leave a link there somewhere, I don't know, something so that you can check it out because that video was viewed so many times. You guys loved it so much that I figured I'm gonna make some more videos about shocking Italian things. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's gonna be about Italian university, Italian college. So I really hope that this might be a topic that interests you. I don't know, I think a lot of people that watch me are people of my age, kind of my age, so people that might be interested in knowing what happens in my country when someone goes to college, how it works, how admission works, and tuition, and many other things. So let's just get into it and yeah, keep on watching. Okay, so the first striking thing that I would like to highlight, obviously, is tuition, because Italian universities are actually quite cheap. I pay around 1,500 euros a year on tuition, which is roughly, I don't know, probably $2,000 a year. I go to a public university, but most people go to a public university. They're very good. We do have private universities, which are very expensive, probably around, I don't know, 12,000 a year, or between maybe 12,000 and 20,000 a year, probably. But most people actually go to public universities, public colleges, and they're very good. They offer great education. The only difference that they probably have compared to a private university or college is that maybe they offer less services or facilities or equipment, which might be important when it comes especially to a scientific degree. But the difference is not that striking, not that significant. Private universities are a bit more prestigious. They offer more internships. But at the end of the day, difference is not that significant. I think the most significant difference is tuition, actually. So most people choose to go to a public university and they still get a fantastic, let's say, fantastic career opportunities and other things. Excuse me a moment. Sorry, guys. The next thing that I wanted to highlight is that university here is different from other countries, especially English-speaking countries, because there's no such thing as assignments. There's no such thing as project works. There's no such thing as workshops. Seminars are even incredibly rare. So the only thing that we do when we go to university is go to class, literally go to class. So we sit down, we listen to the professor speaking, we listen to the lecture, we take notes, we go home and we study. That's it. We have probably around, let's say for a bachelor's degree of 3 years, probably around 10 exams a year. And each exam requires studying at least something around maybe 3, 6, 9 credits, something like that. So between, I don't know, 30 and sometimes even 100 hours of lectures you have to study, along with books and along with notes and along with everything else. So it's actually quite frustrating. It's just lots and lots of theoretical studying all year long, and it can get quite difficult to keep up with. Let's just put it that way. It's hard to keep up with it. And a lot of people try to find a job because studying all the time is really hard. So they try to find a job, but finding a job is extremely hard because you don't have if you're studying for a bachelor's degree, it means you only have like a high school diploma, and you can't really go far with that. You can become a waitress, you can work as a waitress, or you can work as a waitress. I think that's the only thing you can do. So it's actually quite hard to find a job, because even if you find a restaurant that wants to hire you as a waitress, you need to work at least part-time. I don't think they can hire you for a weekend. Lots of people try to work in the summer because there's a lot of workforce shortage in the summer, and you can actually make quite a bit of money out of it. But we also have lots of exams in the summer, so it's just loads of reasons why we can't work, mostly because we don't have a degree, or we don't have the time to work and devote to work, because the mindset is different and people tend to have fun, and because we have exams and we have lots to study. So yeah, nobody works, like hardly anyone, unless you give like English lessons if you're really good at English, or I don't know, something like that. But you can't really make a wage out of it, you know what I mean? So it's actually pretty hard. Also, another thing that is typical here is, as I've said before, tuition is very low. There's no such thing as student loans. Student loans don't exist. But parents still have to pay a little bit if you go to university in a different city. So most people, actually, in Italy at least, tend to go to university in the same city or in a city near where they live, because they still want to live at home. And most people that go to university live with their parents and commute every day to go and listen to lectures, and then they come home and they study. So actually, most of the people don't go through what you would call campus life or something like that. We don't experience that in a way that is similar to Americans or Canadians or English people. I don't know. So it's actually quite different. We tend to stay home simply because it's cheaper. Most people do it because it's cheaper, or because we're very connected with families. But in general, it's because it's cheaper, and there's no such thing, there's no mindset here that requires parents to pay a lot. So parents want to spend as little as possible on expenses, on tuition, on everything. So if you can live in your own home instead of living in another city where you have to pay for rent and food and transportation and free time, etc., books, the expenses become higher than any tuition in any like public university here. So it can get very, very, very expensive, and parents don't have that mentality. I'm gonna send my child to the best university. Lots of people do, but if you have a good university near your town or in the same city where you live, no one is going to move out, basically. I know people that go to university in a city close to where they live, but maybe they have lots of lectures, lots of laboratories, so they have to move because they can't come home every day at 10 or wake up every morning at 6. But most people, if they can, tend to. So now I'm going to be talking about how the Italian academic year works. So one of the most important aspects is the fact that we only have lectures, workshops, assignments, project works, seminars. Actually, seminars do exist, but the other three don't exist. So there's no such thing as assignments. There's no such thing as evaluating you through assignments or doing project works or workshops. You only go to lectures, you listen to the lectures, you take notes, you go home, you study, and you have exams. You have like 3 periods in the year when you're supposed to give exams and to have exams on 6 or more different subjects. You have January and February after the first semester. So you start semester in September, you end in December, and you have exams in January and February, and then you begin lectures again in March and you finish in May, and then you have exams in June and July. So people normally study from September until July all year long. And if you have difficulties or you haven't passed all your exams, you have an extra session of exams in September when you can give more exams if you haven't finished yet. So those are the things. This is how our academic year is planned out. And this is how it works. So it's just exams, studying, and so on. And you have seminars, but towards the end of your degree, you have internships. You can do internships if you find the time, if you're good, if you find a company or an agency that hires you, but they're not very long. If you're lucky, you're gonna take probably a 4-month internship out of a 3-year bachelor's degree. So it's basically 2.5 years of studying, and then maybe like 4-6 months, usually less, I would say between 3 and 6 months of internship, and that's it. And then you have to write your dissertation, because you have a final dissertation, even for a bachelor's degree or a master's degree. And then after you have basically shown and discussed about your dissertation, you get your degree. That's how it works. Also, other aspects of how university work. First of all, there's no such thing as majors and minors. So you can't choose a major and a minor. You only get to choose a major, basically. So there's no such thing as doing extra studying, something that's really different from your subject of study. So there's no such thing as studying economics and a foreign language, or economics and creative writing, or something like this. You only get to choose economics or law or medicine or engineering or I don't know, whatever, and study to get that degree. And if you're good and you can keep up with the work and with the studying, then maybe you can find some extra time and pay for some extra courses of, I don't know, foreign languages or creative writing or informatics or whatever you want. Graphic design, I don't know. But there's no such thing as a minor. You need to take care of that yourself in a way. The next thing I'm going to be talking about very briefly is admissions. So this is how admissions work. Let's leave private universities out for a minute, because private universities tend to work in the same way as foreign universities. So you're tested or you're evaluated. They look at your academic path, or they test you, or they evaluate what you've done as extras during your high school years, months and months and months before the academic year starts. Instead, in public universities, you have some options. You either just, for some courses, not very competitive courses, you either just enroll, basically. You just sign papers and you enroll, and that's it, and you start. Or for some more like highly competitive classes, so medicine, physiotherapy, nursing, biology, biotechnologies, psychology, you take a test. It could be national, like medicine, be national test, or it could be a local test of that university. If you pass it, you get in. If you don't pass it, you don't get in. And this is probably what most universities do, most courses ask for. So most scientific courses, and probably some extra courses. I know economics, engineering, and law don't require this. You just enroll, because I don't know many people that want to start engineering. I don't know many people that want to start law, but surprisingly, lots of people want to go into med school. So that has a very, very competitive test, and which is hard to pass. And I know lots of people that try the test and fail, and they maybe enroll into a different degree and they study a year for that degree, and then they stop and they try the exam again the next year. And they do this especially for scientific subjects like biology, biotechnology, medicine, or physiotherapy, or stuff like that. I do know people that have tried to take an exam once, twice, 3 times. I know people. Or you just enroll, as I've just said. You just sign the papers and you're in. That's how it works. But there's no such thing as academic evaluation. They don't take your high school diploma and look at the grades and stuff like that, because I will talk about this in another video, don't worry. High schools in Italy are just completely different from one another. You can't just compare people from different schools. It's impossible. They're very, very different and they do different things. And your final grade is a lot about luck and a lot about what school you attended, what type of high school you attended. So it's not like in America where you have the SATs and they're the same for everyone. In Italy, we have different type of final exams depending on the school that you attended. So you can't just compare grades between schools and people. So they don't use the Matura grade to evaluate people to make them come into university. They do that in private universities because they have that kind of mindset. But not for public universities. So this is a bit how it works. So I hope you guys enjoyed this small yet very talkative video. I don't know, I'm talkative today, I'm sorry. I really hope you guys enjoyed me talking about Italian colleges and universities and how it works. If you're interested, if you have questions, leave them down below and I will try to get back to you and answer you, okay? And we'll see each other next time with another video. Bye!